Well, first the internationals scattered around the world. Have they come back? And they all come back in one piece?
Yeah. Everybody back yesterday. Some back a day before. So all back in the building, all present and correct.
And I suppose at a varied time. It takes someone like Brandon Thomas Asante to travel all the way out there and not got on the pitch. I mean, does he need a bit of picking up about that? Or?
Brandon's really positive. He's a really positive person anyway, and he came back in, and you wouldn't have known, So you just look and gauge how they are and how they're behaving. But he's really positive, bubbly, and was exactly that. So I don't think so. I think he'd be disappointed he didn't get on the pitch, but it's gone. It is what it is, and you move on, don't you? So. There's no sign of that from him or any of the others, really.
And John Attabodier, he got a lot of time on the pitch in his 2 games. Again, playing in that midfield role, does that give you sort of food for thought?
No, because we've seen him do it. He's done it for us before. He's versatile, so he's played a number of positions and will probably continue to do that. But sometimes it's detrimental to individuals. We've had this conversation, but sometimes it's detrimental if you pin down a position in the team. Then great, but he's really versatile. So he moves from one to another, and he does it really easily. So that's good. It's great to have those strings to your bow. But we know Joel's a good player, and wherever he plays, he does a really good job. But I think he played with Casey, didn't he, in the middle of the park for Jamaica. He's been doing that for a while. And they've been picking up decent results. I think they're through to the next stage, and was it the quarter-final? I think quarter-final. And they play the States next time around, so they'll be meeting up with teammates, potentially.
Yeah. And as you're right, got the assist, that's crossing the left. Like to see him do that this weekend.
Yeah, at the death, wasn't it? But he played around half an hour and made a contribution to that obviously difficult game against Mexico at best of times, and he played in that as well. So yeah, I think mixed fortunes for them. I think, but. Ultimately, they all enjoy going away and being in that environment, or whichever environment is for the countries, for the relevant countries, and but they come back and then they fit straight back in.
And when you're assessing them in terms of fatigue or have you, is it travel as much as anything else?
It's the whole thing, It's the whole thing. Training, playing, travel, coming back in. And then sort of gauging where they're at and how they're feeling, but they've come back in pretty good nick. So I'm pleased with everything that we do, and obviously trying to help them get back and try and keep them awake for a few more hours, so as they don't suffer with the jet lag. I think that's important too. But we'll see again this morning.
And the squad that were here had a team bonding session with Team Haas, so that go well.
I think so. I didn't attend that myself, but it was for the players. I think they had. I think they were measured in terms of changing the wheels on the cars in the pit lane, or certainly where they're based. And they came back and they were full of stories. So yeah, I think you may want to ask one or two of them. But I think I think it went really well, and they were well looked after, and. It's a really good connection, I think.
Yeah, and you do those things from time to time. How important is that, having the whole squad sort of doing something together like that, something outside football?
Well, not the whole squad, but obviously we got the international boys away, but the rest of the squad, there were a few, I think probably about 8 went down, which was a large proportion of the remaining players. But they've had a decent time, they've had a decent spell together, they've done some training, they've worked really hard, the sessions have been good. So, we're looking forward to getting back in front of our supporters and playing and trying to turn our fortunes around a little bit, because the results haven't been what we've wanted. Some of the performances have been great, as we've said, but really ultimately we've got to look at trying to pick points up, and obviously reading Andy's columns, we can't win at Preston, so we're still going to go. We're still going to go, and we'll still have a go. But that's where we're at. I think the last time we won, I was manager in 2012, 2013, when we won 3-2 at the stadium. But yeah, it's a long time ago now, so interesting.
I wasn't sure whether to quote the stats, but Coventry City have never won a league game at Deepdale in 22 attempts. The positive, I suppose, is it makes it an opportunity for your squad to do something that's not been done before.
Well, there are always opportunities, and look, you know, it's right. I mean, you talk about things that are there. It's relevant, but there's no point sort of hiding behind it. I think it's, you know, it is what it is. For whatever reason, we've not won a game there, and certainly since I've been back here and back in the Championship, it's been a tough place to go, and it'll be no different tomorrow. Obviously, changing manager with Paul Heckingbottom going in, a slight change in what they do, maybe a fundamental change over time, but they're a good side, as we know. They've got lots and lots of talented players that are sort of experienced Championship players now. Some have been there a long time, some have been there less so. Some are new players, but they've got a really good squad. One or two are missing, as we know, and we expect another difficult game. But like I say, nothing to lose.
Yeah, they got 2 suspended, haven't they? So that help you?
Does it help? It may do. I think Ben Whiteman's a really good player. You know, he's one of those that we've followed since his Doncaster days at Sheffield United, but he certainly his Doncaster days. He played with Ben Sheaf at that time, so he's definitely a miss for them. But they've got a deep squad, a deep squad of experienced players. So I think that is, you know, it's always a challenge going there, and as you say, it becomes more of a challenge, and obstacles get put in your way along the way with, you know, articles and conversations that we have. But there's no point hiding away from it. You've got to face that, and at some point it's got to change.
And you said you need to turn things around a bit. You've had 2 weeks effect on the Sheffield Wednesday game. I mean, is there something specific missing, do you think, or has been missing? From your performances for your games?
Well, obviously there has, yeah, because we've conceded too many goals and of a poor type that we've contributed to ourselves. You know, we've shot ourselves in the foot a few times, and building into the game against Swansea, we felt like we were in a good place. I don't know if we'd have won the game against Tottenham, and that'd have given them the confidence boost that they needed and get through it. But ultimately, you've got to. There are a lot of things in a season. At the start of the season, I said that I was a bit concerned because of the level of expectation. You've got to manage the expectation. I'm trying to do that. But go into games knowing that we've got some really good quality, some capable players that we have. But we've got to stop, and you're going to make mistakes, and there's going to be ups and downs. You know, there always are. But we've got to have an understanding of what happens, why things happen, and I've said it before. I've said it a number of times before. We've started off seasons in the Championship not particularly well, apart from one season where we went on I think the first 7 games at home and still couldn't win away from home. But we were, you know, worked our way into it, and it feels like that's what's got to happen again. But there are really good signs earlier this time, whereas I don't think last season we performed particularly well at the start of the season. We were struggling a little bit to pick up points as well. Performances weren't necessarily great. We lost this game 3-2 last season. We lost to Hull 3-2, and I think was it Millwall 3-2 was that last season as well. But there were a number of games where we conceded a lot of goals, and things changed around gradually. But it just is what it is at this moment in time. We've just got to face facts and move through it as we always do.
Last season, if I remember rightly, it was actually this fixture you changed formation at half time and then stuck that for the next few games, and it did turn your fortunes around somewhat. Is there an argument for just making a change almost to try and get things going? I
think that, you know, at the end of the day, have got to look for performances. You've got to look at the individuals. They've trained well. You know, players that have come back in have been away and they've played. They've had different experiences, but players that have been in the building have trained really well, and that gives you food for thought. But also the players coming in are international players, and that also gives me food for thought. So, you know, whatever I do tomorrow, hope gives us the best chance of winning the game, as it always does. Nothing changes too drastically. You know, I'm always looking for something that we can do, something that we haven't done. What have we done differently? Is there anything that we can do differently to make some changes? But again, you get to know individuals, and I think sometimes you might look too deep into things. I think players are the same. You know, they look too deep into things, and really they have to be free. You know, you've got to try and free them up in the heads, in the brains, to go and allow them to flourish. But again, it takes a little bit of time, and I'm looking forward to this next block of games. We've got 6 games before the next international break. It's incredible, really. We've got 4 weeks and then we're off again, and it's internationals, and we're talking about the similar things, but hopefully we can pick up some points in this spell where we've got 4 away from home and 2 at home.
Seeing pictures of Tatsak and on the training ground, is he alright?
Yeah, he's fine. All good. Trained well. Got himself back into the reckoning. So yeah, it's good to have him moving freely and looks close to back to where he was last season.
I'm going to talk to Ben Sheaf shortly. How important is it having him back?
They're all important, but you know, Ben is somebody that at his best is one of the best in this division, and you know, having him back is a big plus for us. You know, while he was out, talking about him being missing is a big thing, and whilst you've been out for such a spell, it takes time for you to get back to the level that you know you can play at, that we know he can play at. But he's, you know, he does everything right, and expect his performance levels to go up and be where we know he can be. You know, I think that's certainly not far away. And again, he's trained this international break and done pretty well, like everybody else. So it's been a decent spell for us, really. You know, disappointment of the Sheffield Wednesday game, and you know, that can hang over for a little while, but it dissipates over that international break, so we can go into this game and have a real go at turning around this not so great record.
Not far away. So Ben, obviously been back for a few games now. Has it felt good?
Yeah, been good to get back. Yeah, still probably getting a little bit up to speed, but I've had a good 2-3 weeks of training now, back with the boys, and yeah, I'm feeling fit and I'm feeling ready. So yeah, looking forward to the game.
How long does it take to get back to be at your very peak where you've been out for a while?
Yeah, I think it depends. You know, if it was mid-season where I had a lot of games under my belt, it doesn't take too long. But obviously, I only had about half a pre-season. I missed the majority of the pre-season games. So yeah, because of that, probably takes a little bit longer for the body to adapt and get back up to speed. But yeah, I've had a good few games now, and I'm feeling good.
I guess the break probably didn't come at a great time for you. You'd like to have played more games.
Yeah, you know, the result didn't help. You want to get a game under your belt again straight away. But yeah, you know, we've had a good week's training. The quality's been there, so we were just really looking to take that into the game.
Apologies for bringing it up, but the winning goal for Sheffield Wednesday, the pass you. If I understood the manager correctly, he was saying that maybe you shouldn't have tried to go for the ball because the pass wasn't good and you weren't going to get to it. Would it, in hindsight, and hindsight's obviously easy, would it have been better just to stood up and accepted that the pass wasn't?
Yeah, maybe. You know, there's loads of if, buts and maybes in situations like that. Yeah, maybe I should have stood for it. I was on a yellow card, so you know I couldn't really bring him down. So even then, he could have maybe got away, and I wouldn't have been able to bring him down. But you know, there's loads of things in the lead up to that goal and what happened after that we could have done better. So it wasn't just one person's fault. It was a team collective that you know, we should have managed better. You know, so yeah, we learned from it. But even the week before that game, training was good off the back of the Blackburn game. So you know, we're not going to get too down about it. What's gone is gone, and we're just looking ahead now.
Yeah, it's obviously frustrating because it actually looked like you were the most likely side to win the game in that last half hour. So as ever, the margins are very narrow, aren't they?
Yeah, I think we had the better spells in the game. And yeah, like you say, the last half hour, it looked like there was only going to be one winner, and we felt that. And then kind of the goal just came out of nowhere. But that's done now. We're not thinking about that anymore. We're just looking ahead to the Preston game.
So are the players not reflecting too much on where you are at the moment and how the season's gone? Is it do you think about that a lot, or do you put that in the back of your minds?
No, I think it's still really early. Everyone knows the Championship's a mad league. You have teams who are in the top 6 at Christmas, and then they end up being fighting for relegation by the end of the season, and vice versa. So we've been in this situation before. I've been in this league for a number of years now, and it's nothing to think too much about. Obviously, you want to win games, but if you keep doing the right things in training and keep the right habits, then you give yourself a right chance going into the game. So we're not too worried about it. But I think what's done is done now. So we had an international break to get out of the system. So it's now just about looking at these next block of games and attacking them.